Captain Cautious and the case of the slightly twisted knee. 2 weeks before the biggest bike race of the planet, a race that can launch careers, redeem souls, and sell approximately 13,000 espresso machines, Team INEOS, that great British bastion of marginal gains and incredibly serious sunglasses, is on the brink of a complete tactical implosion. Why? Because their fearless leader, Sir Geraint Thomas, the kneecap Thomas, took a minor tumble at the Tour de Suisse. Excuse me? Swiss. And now the team is being run like an overprotective nursery. Let's be clear, Geraint Thomas did not break his femur, he did not rupture a spleen, he didn't even dislocate a toe. No, G crashed, stood up and went, The knee didn't feel too bad, but it was more the muscles and from the twisting of it really. Translation: he has a slightly annoyed kneecap, not even injured, just moody. Now, what would old school INEOS do? What would Dave Brailsford's era of duct tape, spreadsheets and borderline medieval training camps do? They'd wrap G's leg in graphene-infused compression socks, hook him up to a cryogenic chamber filled with the tears of Chris Froome's critics, and send him back out with an energy gel duct tape to each eyelid. This is the modern INEOS, and they do it slightly differently. Let's just say this is 2025 INEOS, where the team doctor essentially shrugged and went, yeah, we don't want to take the risk. We think you're better just having a few days off. Make sure it's 100% and then you can train again and be good for the tour. In other words, no riding, no racing, just rest. Maybe some yoga and a scented candle in the corner of the room. G wanted to race. He wanted to start, but no. Team INEOS had a little panic attack in the Alps and decided to wrap their entire Tour de France campaign in a bubble wrap and misplaced optimism. The captain is quote-unquote off the ship, in rudderless, and INEOS has drifted towards a French iceberg that looks suspiciously like Tadej Pogacar's smug face. Without G, they're just a group chat in Lycra. Let's not kid ourselves here. Without Geraint Thomas, Team INEOS is less Tour de France super team and more local club ride with some suspiciously expensive bikes. With G, they have leadership, gravitas, a 38-year-old who still knows how to time trial and insult a Belgian with panache. Without G, they've got Thymen Arseman, accidentally leading the team because he forgot to mute himself on the team Zoom call. Let's just do a quick team roll call, shall we? Carlos Rodriguez, Spain's next big hope, who's currently trying to remember whether his last good result was in a GC, a time trial, or a local criterium sponsored by a cheese company. Thymen Arseman looks like a domestique, sounds like a domestique, climbs like a domestique, now potentially promoted to GC leader through sheer attrition and knee injuries. Egan Bernal, who, while heroic and beloved, is still in phase 173 of his 400 phase post-accident comeback arc, and will probably get dropped on a false flat outside Limoges. This is not a team, this is a collection of stories that haven't quite worked out yet, duct taped together with, well, if Geraint Thomas back in time. Except G is literally at home doing glute activation exercises and writing his next podcast episode titled Why My Right Vastus Lateralis is a Coward. The mental impact is clear. Without Geraint Thomas, the team's WhatsApp group has been renamed from Tour de France Winners 25 to Hope for Top 10 Maybe. Training camp or therapy session. Let's talk about what happens when your team leader is told to take a few days off, 2 weeks before the Tour de France, mind you. In cycling terms, this is like telling a fighter pilot to take a nap just before flying into battle. Now Geraint said, quote, "So I wanted to start, but it made sense, so that was the call," which is basically British for, I was held hostage by the medical staff and forced to lie down. This isn't just rest, this is disruption. INEOS had everything planned, from altitude camps, race recons, to the psychology against UAE Team Emirates, involving tweets about power meters, and now the whole operation is in a wait and see mode. You know what happens when elite athletes wait and see? They spiral. Pidcock is probably spending his spare time loving the fact that he left INEOS. Carlos Rodriguez has allegedly been spotted mid-Zwift ride angrily muttering, "This wasn't how G said the rotation would go." Bernal is practicing smiling for interviews while being overtaken by 20-year-olds with Bluetooth-enabled socks. Meanwhile, things are looking pretty bad. People are Googling how to treat stress fractures of the morale and wondering if Red Bull might sponsor a group therapy session for INEOS. What does training even look like for INEOS now? Coach: "Okay lads, 5-hour ride today. Tempo climbs, zone 3 effort." Rider: "Are we still racing for Grant Thomas?" Coach: Maybe." Rider cries into isotonic drink. UAE is a machine. INEOS is an arts and crafts project. Let's contrast this beautiful disaster with the Terminator factory that is UAE Team Emirates. Tadej Pogacar, having recently conquered Italy like it was a local group ride, is now doing power intervals on Mont Ventoux while casually solving Rubik's Cubes mid-ride. João Almeida is carbo-loading without isomosis, and Adam Yates is quietly sharpening his form like a human scalpel. Oh, and Ayuso crashed, got 15 stitches and is still training with one leg. That's what dedication looks like. Meanwhile, INEOS is out here like, well, we hope G's knee is feeling okay after he sat on the couch and thought about pedaling. We think Carlos is ready for leadership. If we can just find him a stage that ends in a time machine. INEOS, for all their budget and wattage, are now running on vibes. They have analytics, they have sports science, but they have absolutely no idea what to do if Thomas doesn't show up to the Grand Depart in Florence with both knees functioning. This isn't just bad luck, you guys. This is poetic irony. For a team that once made Froome ride through a lava field of suspicion to win the Giro, they are now praying that Thomas doesn't sneeze too hard while doing a recovery ride. They were supposed to be the team that brought structure, depth, and science, and now they're crossing their fingers and saying things like, "We might be fine if nobody attacks too hard in week 1. Good luck with that. The Tour de France is fine, they lied. Let's fast forward a week. Geraint Thomas returns to racing. Ideally, he puts on his freshly ironed INEOS kit, zips it up with a grimace, and sets off on a recon ride. 3 minutes later, his radio's in. "Yes lads, knee feels sort of okay. Bit tight, hamstrings overcompensating, lower back a bit twitchy, but yeah, could be worse." The team erupts into celebration like they've just won a stage, because in 2025, INEOS could be worse, is now the highest form of optimism. But the reality? The Tour de France doesn't wait. It doesn't care. It won't postpone stage 1 because Geraint Thomas needs a few more glute bridges. It will start. Pogacar will attack on a hill where no one expected a hill, and INEOS will be left blinking into the Tuscan sun, wondering why the race got away from them before it even began. Their strategy is now hope Geraint Thomas feels okay, and yeah, the rest is history. It's all unraveling, you guys. Things are getting worse for the team. Their 8-man lineup is currently being selected based on who didn't fall over while making toast this morning. Riders are being slotted into leadership roles like it's a game of musical chairs played during a hurricane. And all because their one reliable captain crashed during the Tour de Suisse. A race known for being scenic, harmless and slightly boring, and now he has to rehab like he's prepping for the Olympics. If there were a movie, it would be called The Kneecap, The Shook as Super Team. So, 2 weeks out from the biggest race of the year, here's the honest breakdown of Team INEOS's situation. Geraint Thomas, 85% sure he's racing, 60% sure his knee agrees. Carlos Rodriguez has never heard of pressure. Aronsman has started having nightmares where he's the GC leader and everyone's asking him about watts per kilo, and Banal might be okay or not, or both. And the fans, well, we're just here for the show, because when you call your team Grenadiers and you don't expect the entire tactical approach to hinge on a man gently twisting his leg while trying to avoid a neutral service moto in Switzerland. Thanks for watching today's video. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing to stay up to date with all of the latest cycling news, cycling drama and cycling results. Leave a like on the video and I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Oh, and don't forget to add your comments down below.